Tony got you left moments before the whipsaw. I know. I tried to stay live as much as I could. Nutrition facts. I really did. The 5 minute, pretty interesting here. Remember when I was asking for that surge to get up to here, and I was like, man, I really want to get into something right here for downside, but I just haven't seen that surge. Haven't seen that surge. And then we're like, oh yeah, it's breaking down. So now this will hold as resistance. Boom, surge. Right? Boom, Trump comes out, nice little surge, and then, what was expected to happen still ended up happening. So still ended up coming back down to the bottom, seeing that resistance come in, coming back down, seeing resistance, coming back down, seeing resistance. But now we're holding up better, and we have to see, right? We're still paying attention if we can get that higher low. Potentially, you would say even on like a 15-minute chart, right? Potentially on the 15-minute chart. What this is allowing to happen is the 30-minute to possibly even curl up and be able to go positive, which means if you're reading into the Patreon video that we put out just about an hour ago, the Patreon video we put out, it really was me saying like, hey, the bulls need to step in, right? They need to step in. We need to see the direction here as being up, right? Because of this right here, if this would have went like that, we see the direction, this pulls back. Awesome. Okay, awesome. But then we get the lower high, which starts to mean that's not happening. So if this is not happening, and this means, this would be lower potential, right? Well, if this is X, then what is not X? Well, not X is right here, right? That's also how you draw not X if you're not aware. So I just wanted to take that into consideration. And now we understand what we're reacting up to this type of area again. So we need to get through all of this. We really need to get through this today. We need to see that thing just surge because I think you're at risk still of seeing downside, right? We're in the downside play right now. Pretty much the downside with the 30 minutes saying, hey, this is your moment to try to do something. And I think that's overall what's going on here. We'll notice what? The 5 minute, where does it run into trouble? Hey, right here again. So very, very nice, very cool, very interesting. Once again, if you were paying attention to what we were kind of talking about all morning long was once we get up to that 562 to 564, it's kind of just like, hey, grab that position and then watch it come down. We can read into that based on the price action alone, which is very, very cool. What happened to Rumble? We're still doing Rumble, just doing it live on YouTube for this month because we thought we would see some crazy things. You're at a very pivotal moment for the market, and I didn't want it to be just, closed off to the people who come over to Rumble. We're still going to do Rumble. We're just doing it more on YouTube for this month to let people show, if you really like these live videos, maybe for this month you really like these live videos, well, join Rumble, and next month you'll get the same thing. I miss you, Rothar. Nvidia earnings, very, very important here. Looking at, what is it, AMD? AMD, looking at that. Notice AMD. Notice this about AMD on the 5 minute. What's AMD doing that's different from the market, say, as a whole, right? Why did we say the SPY is very rough? Well, it's because it never did what AMD did, right? AMD kind of showed you this path. You get a dump, right? So I'm actually kind of bullish on AMD for the time, at least for the earnings. What happens after earnings, hey, don't hold me to it, but I'm not saying take a play with earnings. I never take plays on earnings. It's just not my game. It's not what I like to do. I think it's a 50. I don't think you have enough edge to really be able to confidently make money. I would say a high percentage of the time. But for the time being, what is it showing you? Well, before the event, we were able to make that new high with the 5 minute while the market showed you the low, correct? That's why the market is suggesting down. But with AMD earnings, weirdly enough, the price action is still at this point, slightly suggesting up, which will be very, very interesting. SMCI as well. SMCI, if you look over at this, once again, nasty drop, right? Now, why would I not be inclined to be like, oh, yay, SMCI? Well, because on that 5 minute, what do you see? The series of what? Lower highs. Now, this could still show positivity after the earnings and things like that. Like we could still see positivity, but I think more so, SMCI is not a stock that I necessarily trade too often. When you look at daily timeframes and things like that, yeah, it can go positive, but you're at risk of seeing something like this start to shape. You have a ton of gaps. You could be just making some kind of thing right here, and you get some kind of rip, right? Rip with, or it just tears down right now. But if you really wanted to see structure on the daily time frame, you could see something like this that actually fails to the downside, right? Over time, I think the earnings could be a good thing initially. We'll have to find out. But I don't want to read too far into earnings. I still see earnings as a 50-50 flip. You don't know what they're going to say. I don't know what they're going to say. Sometimes you get lucky and get some hints from price action. I think you have a slight hint from AMD on the 5 minute suggesting potential upside, right, for the earnings. But once again, I still, even with that information, I treat it like a 50-50 flip. I really do. And I'd rather pay attention to the structure for the SPY, right? I'd rather pay attention to the structure here and see if we're going to do this, right? Are we going to see this type of moment before FOMC? Watch that dump back down maybe after FOMC. I don't think you want to see even that at that point. We'll have to find out later on. We'll pay attention to it as it comes. But this is where the potential opportunity is, weirdly enough, for the 30 minute to cross up and to see if we can get above this high all the way up here. This is the moment where it's going to have to do that, in my opinion, or you're at risk of seeing what? You're at risk of seeing this into that, right? Something like that. Or you know how we like to draw. We like to go boom, and then we bounce up, boom, bounce up, right? Especially if you break this like last time and you don't do the things to figure it out. You can literally just see this all in one big swooping move, right? This could just be bam, bam, bam if you're not able to see that positivity right now. So I just wanted to show you that. We're looking for any reason that the daily time frame would say, hey, we need to revisit here or here. And you do have risk of that actually forming. Now that we've seen a few days of price action, right? From this point right here, this bar, we've been going, oh, it's bullish. It's on the bull side. But the bulls are slowly losing control in the shorter time frames. Not in the bigger ones. Not the bigger ones. Look, you're above this. You're above this. That's good. You're below the 5, but it's still like you're still a little edge to the bulls. But you can see how the bears are trying to take control based on the 5 minute, the short time frames. So I'll be paying attention to it. It just says, hey, there's a lot. I mean, what do you expect too, as well? Like, what do you expect? It's going to be you're going into a big event, right? FOMC. Everyone's hanging on that, right? You also have earnings. You have OPEX next week. You have so many things that it's just a very, very weird time to see volatility still remaining like towards 20 even. I think you would really like to see this thing spike up. But this is what I was looking for from volatility, actually. The 30 minute, if you were watching the Patreon video, I was looking for the ability to not beat this wick, come down lower, and really just cross down on this MACD, right? Show that double top. That double top can cause what? The 2 hour to confirm down. And during that video over on Patreon, we were mainly just discussing like, hey, you need to see this come down right now. You need to see this say, hey, I'm filling these 2 gaps. Then we get a reversal signal. And if we see the opposite on the SPY, right, we see this positive divergence, right, could form. We do something like this, it's already formed. That's why this is risky right now. And then you would say the SPY, if it shows us the same thing at the same time, I'd probably be ready for that sell in May and go away moment to happen, right? If we see a 2 hour go up like this and a 2 hour drop down like this, I would be very worried about more downside coming. That's what I would have to say. I don't think you want failure in here at all. I think you want this to be like, oh, 2 hour divergence, we work it off at that point. So pretty much, however we get to here, that's when the risk starts to go really, really high, and you're kind of in that now. Look at the 5 minute reject off of here. Boom, rejection one more time. Again, once again, it keeps rolling. It's not a good thing. We'll see. This is their attempt. This is the bulls' attempt to keep everything good again. And right now, it's not remaining good again. Let's put it that way. After December 18th, I'm never holding major positions through FOMC. The rug pulls take a lot of mental strength to deal with when you're up. Exactly. If you can have good trades before, good trades after, what the hell's the point of getting involved in it, right? Sorry if anyone subscribes or donates or anything like that. My feed, my mini feed for my streaming platform is not functioning properly. Let's see here. I also focused on QQQ order flow. I missed the bull run on HIMS. No, Milky Fade, no. Good afternoon, fam. What's up, Bernie? How you doing today? Hope everything's going well. Trump's comments scare me off. Well, Trump's comments, I really think this would have happened regardless. I think that sneaky grab was going to happen regardless, weirdly enough. But it did exceed my expectation. I was mainly thinking like 562.50 right here, right? I was mainly thinking that. But the Trump news, I think, was a reason to surge this. And you see this. This is a great hint of like, I think the market wants, or at least people, I would say this, not the market, the people, I think people want to see the market go up. But there's too much going on. And I did listen in on bits of Trump talk, right? Because I was listening to Bassent, whatever the hell his name is. And yeah, I was listening to him and I was like, man, he really is getting grilled. And I don't think people liked that, right? Didn't like it. And then Trump said like one word about something and bam. So I think they sent Trump out and were trying to use their little meeting to show some kind of confidence in what they're doing and instill confidence in others. And for the time being, I don't think they were successful. I don't think they were successful. And I think all you did was grab liquidity to shoot it down. That grabbing of liquidity really made me think like down here is where we need to be paying attention. But we're always reacting based on what the market gives us. If the market starts to hold up better, right, create these blocks, we can see how we behave in those blocks, right? If we really wanted to, you're rejecting from one. Let's take the bottom of this area, take the bottom there, and we'll go like this. Well, you can say we tried to reject off of it, and then we bursted through it, tap inside, tap inside, tap inside. You're kind of in this ping pong area right here. You're in this ping pong area here, so you're looking for the breakout kind of moment, right? But now look at the 5. I want you to look at the MACD on the 5. Is that positive? That's a good sign. That means as of right now, the price action is saying the market is trying to go this direction. If it starts to change, that's going to be really bad. That's pretty much how it is. It's going to be good until it gets bad right now. It's going to be, on the bigger time frames, it's going to be bad until it gets good again. That's kind of how it works right now, which is kind of shitty. I hate when I have to talk that way. I really do. I hate it. Even the video last night, I was like, now I have to say the thing to be aware of. And so now there's 5 different possibilities that can happen. There's too many things that can happen here. That's always the worst time to be talking about stocks. Oops, sorry about that. I was dusting something off my desk. So you see now we're dipping into that area. You're going to dip into that area and we're going to see what happens. Dump it louder. Dump it louder. Sorry. Middle finger on that chart. Oh, I mean, what this just means is there is potential. The hesitation here means there's potential for us to get an unknown that I don't think is priced into the market yet, right? If we see that unknown thing come up, if we don't see price action be able to retake this high this week, if we don't see this high taken out this week, you are at risk of seeing what? More and more downside. More and more downside, which would incline us to believe either we need to retest the lows, we need to retest 510 to 480 for the SPY, or we need to reach down lower. We need to reach down lower, which I don't think with our monthly expected moves, that's the most likely case. I think we're going to see something funky here, and I think we'll take out that high by the end of the week. I think we'll see some kind of move to tell us, hey, we're getting to 570. I think I said 570. I got to look over here. 576, right? We need to see 576 probably before options expiration next week. But this means what? If we're going to see downside now, we might get to sell in May and go away early. I'm not a fan of that. I think there's more risk in that. I would rather see us go up here now, and the structure here is saying, hey, you got a shot at that right now. and then we actually turn down maybe after options expiration, right? We actually see maybe a pullback with FOMC again Thursday. Then we start to move up again, and we see some upside into options expiration. And that's where we get the sell in May and go away, kind of that last week and a half. I don't personally put my trades live. Nope. I do not. Still looking for those trade deals. yeah, that's true, young Stepan. Anything we're going to reject 200? I think it's possible. I think you're more likely to see the trap above 200. If you're rejecting from here, this is worse. This is worse right now, just so you're aware. Rejecting here and seeing those little retests and stuff like that on the way down, I think that's worse than if we did this. The other way to put it, though, is just you never, if you don't want to revisit those lows, then you never, from here, you never want to go all the way back down to here. What I'm talking about in this kind of move, right? If we would go boom, boom, and then we see like that sell off in May, we come back down to the zone again. What I'm more talking about is we don't want to see us revisit those lows now. I think we want to revisit those lows later for an opportunity, meaning we have a lot of time to fool around. I think you want like 2 months of fooling around up in these type of levels. See if you can peek your head above new all-time high, then possibly revisit the lows. That's how I'm seeing it right now. I'm seeing it now, but that's why you probably heard me during yesterday's live show start to stutter when this thing started to fail, because I was like, oh shit, that goes against my complete theory. Now this opens the door to that right now. So you probably heard me just, oh, that's bad. Oh, that's bad. Oh, that's bad. We can see this. Oh, that's bad. Oh, this is forming. Oh, that's bad. This is your last shot to do something great here. And then you're hoping for what if this fails right now? Well, you're just hoping it stops here, turns up on a 2 hour and shows you good things, right? Maybe I'm not reading into it correctly, right? But as far as price action goes, that's what it's saying to me right now is like, we need to see positivity. So yeah, Bernie, serious rejection from the 200, anywhere near the 200, anywhere above the 200, anywhere below the 200, I would say in May, that takes you below this zone. Anytime you get below this zone, you see it get to the bottom, reject and turn down and lose this zone, lose this low. Yeah, you really did just open the door completely up to 510. You really did just open the door completely open to like 480, 490, right? That's why you're hearing me talk pretty seriously. And that's why I put out a Patreon update right here. I was like, this is the last chance. This is potentially the last chance. Technically, the last chance would be 2 hour down here. So this is your second to last chance. Let's put it that way. But it's a good thing right before we went off the live stream this morning, we were talking about, that grab up here. It ended up happening, not in the way we thought it would, but it did end up happening. And then from that grab, that's where we saw the serious rejection right here. We saw the very simple rejection there to tell you, okay, daily expected move, which is when we left the stream, we said, hey, I'm looking for 558.46 or 555 if it gets really ugly. What did we go to? 558.46, and now we're making the attempt. It's good. It's good. Price action's behaving well, right? We can read into it. Maybe it's not in the bullish direction, but it is behaving well. Pumps and after hours. That's the problem with like Palantir, and we mentioned that with Palantir. Palantir probably going to get a snapback at some point, but Palantir, we were mentioning that. We were mentioning this. Hey, you could see that gap up and fade. That's what I was leaning towards. You actually see the price get to here, but it did it in the it did it already. It did it before the open, pretty much. It did it right away. So I think you're at risk of that with a lot of stocks. I think you'll see, if AMD has a good earnings, I think you'll see a positive price. If it has a good earnings, I think you'll see the positive price. Like, I think it'll show up tomorrow. And then watch out for FOMC. I still think we test or flush to 556. Powell will pump us through, dump rest of May. If we test 556, you would rather see this first for the market to remain healthy. You would rather see that first, just so you're aware. You want to see the pump and the dump with Powell, then you get to 556 or worse, right? This negates a lot of this down here. All you need to see is that fresh new high. It'll convince you that it's a good thing. You have a chance to hold up better. Right now, are we seeing what we need to see to make like those kinds of moves? No, you're not. You're going to be very dependent on earnings to see if you can get there. But I can tell you right now with this kind of move, bam, these kind of moves in here, bam, bam. Look at how fast this went down. Look at how fast this was going down. I mean, you saw 0.5. We came down 0.75 in 45 minutes. You came down 1% in an hour and a half, right? Volatility that, you know, I would say a lot of people would say volatility is heightened, right? It's reminding you a lot of what? These type of things, right? Those. And so this is the volatility, and people were still willing to try right now. I think that's big. I think it tells you the bulls are trying their best, and will they be successful? Well, you confirm this as another lower high, then that's a problem. So I think this is your second to last shot, if you will. A pump to 570s, then dump to 550 would be much better price action. Exactly, Baba. Yeah, you're getting what I'm throwing down. Lottery stocks got cooked on earnings again, but is confident. AMC to 391. You better load that boat. Better load that boat, dog. All right. Well, it's AMC, so the boat. I think I loaded that boat 2 weeks ago. I was like, let me get it before the implied volatility goes insane. I'm sitting at 0. I'm sitting at no change. I'm sure that decay will hit right after earnings. I mean, GME, the market follows GME, and that's overall giving you major reversal as well, right? Breaking through. I mean, we could include the wicks here. You can include them. Either way, it's just down here bad. What do you need to take it back? You need to start seeing good things. You need to hold the center. For now, the edges here. The edges, now you've hit this point, so watch for any kind of move like this, like this, like this, like that. Anything like that can cause problems. We'll see. Let them report earnings and we'll see. And by GME, I mean let AMC report earnings, because apparently, I don't know why, for some reason they move together sometimes. All right, come on, boys. You keep tapping into the top of this. That's good. Could we see another December 18th? Let me look at my other charts to see what happened on December 18th. I can't remember every move. October, December 18th. December 18th. No, you're in a totally different scenario of December 18th. A good thing to look for would more likely be, and I don't have my updated levels, so just ignore this as I pull them over. Just ignore them. A more scenario that you kind of want to happen at this point, I think, but a bigger scenario is you're in like this right now, right? We have this block. Okay. We see a gap up on some news. We're able to get outside of it. We retest, potentially filling a gap. Then we turn down to retest into that block, and we turn to the upside. That's the best way to continue to head higher. I think you want a tighter retest than that, but I think this is more likely what you want to see for the market to go higher. Where are you right now, though? Is this the same? No, you're going up to this point right now, and you're seeing it drop down, which means you're always at risk of seeing what? Well, this broken, and if that breaks, you would have tested these lows. right? So I think you're more in this type of area right here, which is August 14th. Say August 14th to August 15th. You're right in that area. And you're starting to pull down, which is not the same, right? It never is exactly the same. Maybe we could go into that price action in another video. And then and then you just pull over the broad scheme of things. You just pull this over and you go, and by the way, these are still wrong. Don't pay attention to those. I've been just focusing on my regular charts with you guys, not looking at my trading charts too much, right? Because I'm utilizing daily expected moves more, so I'm just hanging with you guys. Right, we're there. We're at that August 15th level, but we're not seeing this yet. I say yet because we'll pay attention, but I don't think you want to see probably this. I think you would more so want to see, if you're going to remain bullish, this. We use that same zone. I think that's what you want to see. That would take you into options expiration. Notice that it goes perfectly to May 16th. That's what you want to see here. I don't know if you're going to get it, though. You're seeing not very good price action just yet. You're on kind of your second to last attempt right now. You're building liquidity, which is good, but I'm sure if you're in a 1 minute, people are probably going, ooh, ooh, ooh. Why should AMD earnings be good? Just the market showed you the new higher high. Compared to the market, AMD showed you the higher high. I'm not saying it has to be good. I do not play those. I am not condoning playing earnings with your life savings. That's never going to be, I stay away from earnings, right? You know, people asking about, hey, what's in that core? What do you talk about? I talk about things that I think are important. And one of those things that I think we might even mention in the course is earnings. And I say, I stay away from those. Why? It's too much. It's too much unknowns. Too many unknowns, right? Even if price action tells you the way, sometimes it gets it wrong first. Sometimes it gets it right first and completely dumps. Sometimes IV crushes you. Sometimes there's no move and everyone loses money. So I just stay away from it. I stay away from it. There's probably people, there's probably people who have more studied or looked at probably like day traders could maybe do it. Like a very, very skilled day trader, a very, very skilled shorter time frame trader could more so read into earnings better. Maybe an Elliott Wave guy could read into earnings in a different way. But the way that I read into things, I just think that for the most part, all those people would say the same things, right? They would still say there's a lot of risk. They could do whatever. All they have to do is say one bad thing and boom, to the downside. So, you know, if you're early on and you want to play with earnings and stuff, just look at your position size. That's the main thing we say with earnings. Position size does not have to be absolutely amazing, and you don't have to get rich really, really quick. You can just try to make a decent little trade based on the information you have. But paying attention to momentum and stuff before earnings, usually not the most beneficial thing. Usually not the most beneficial thing. Like, I think AMC could turn down. Why? The only reason I think AMC could turn down with earnings. Why? Well, I think that's because of what? GME showing reversal signals, weirdly enough. That's the only hint I have. Yeah, I'm just surprised we made it to the center point. And really, if we take into consideration what's going on right now, I'm talking about it like this is risky because it is in the shorter time frames. It's telling you risk is there now because you did come up to this point and you saw bad things that never showed you the new way higher, right? It never showed you I want to go higher and then dip down and then curl back up. No, it said I want to go down. So we need to see if it makes that path for us. Then we dip down into here. It's not as serious, right? And if we take into consideration what's going on here, we won't treat this downward move very seriously until we start to see that hiccup fail, right? Come down to here, hiccup, fail, right? The failure that takes you outside is more the time where you start to really be like, hey, no, I'm not going to risk my money. Okay, so I know we're talking about a lot of different things. I think it's a lot of fun, guys. I really do. I think it's great. And I think this is your second to last attempt to try to make a move towards 570. Maybe 576. Maybe. It's a big maybe on that. 570, 572 seems more likely. I didn't comment much earlier. I was listening to a bit, but really focus on the futures now. Hey, it's a time to focus, so I totally get it, Taw. No apologies necessary, my dude. How are you seeing it, Taw? Since you didn't comment this morning, what's your take on this so far? Did you have a change in your take from morning to now? My take has slightly changed. We saw all the bad things we were seeing. My slight change was the higher low that we did mention, but I really thought we would visit 555. Let's see, like Nvidia 115 has been a wall. You break through that wall. What do you need to break through that wall? You need AMD to help it out. That's not bad. The bad part is filling gap, fall back down. 1, 2, probably like a 3 push higher. Yeah, if this is just an ABC and we're about to get a dump, like I would seriously be paying attention to, well, one, what's the structure look like as far as a pattern, right? Still kind of flaggy, very volatile, right? Some volatile moves in there, but still reading into it like what? The 30-minute just crossed up into positive territory. It's not a bad thing, but you do have serious resistance here, and all you got is a little ABC push higher. What you want to see is like this be an A, and then you probably want that to have a bunch of legs to it, right? If you want things to remain positive, what do they need to do? Retest, go higher. Retest, go higher. That's how I think this market needs to behave to remain bullish. Sorry, I'm clicking around a bunch, but yeah, 115, rough spot. We have 114.45 marked off. FX likes to compare it to 1998. I'd have to look into it some more. I haven't looked at the comparison to 1998. I could maybe at least do it on my other charts, possibly relatively quickly. 1998. Let's try to keep it on the SPY if I can. 1998. So 1998, I actually like this. I like this a lot. I like that he's pointing this out. Okay, this is great. It's a great example. We're going to show it off real quick. Market's going higher, maybe a squeeze little moment. We'll see. I want you to notice this. This is different, whether you like it or not. Bam. All right. What's the big difference here? What's the big difference here? Why is right now seeming like at least there is sentiment that people want the market to go higher? Well, because the buying took you above here. This never took you above there. Never did. That's bad. That is obvious rejection. Look at this. It's even negative, right? Where's the MACD right now? It's positive for us technically on the daily scale, by the way. And this is the SPY. So you rejected from below the halfway point. That's a big deal. Your structure on the way up was what? Not very bullish. It was just looking very flaggy. You go into the zone, you reject. Right? It's a big deal. Do you see how it adds up? It's different. This was different. What you're experiencing right now is different. Completely different, actually. Why? Because price was able to get to here. Now it's doing this. Now you're at risk of seeing this again, right? You can see this again. I'm not saying you can't see something similar. I'm just saying price actually got to here, so look at what price is doing. If it does this, and then goes like this, and then goes like this, you're never going to revisit those lows. Right? It's different. So, I mean, he's reading into it. I don't think he's wrong. I think it is similar in some fashion because you have started to reject from those levels. And now you're at that point where if you roll, it becomes more serious. But for the time being, let's just show what the market is telling us right now. 5-minute has designated itself as a higher low. The 5-minute, as of right now, tried to reject off of this, and now it's going for another test. You weren't able to confirm that this was bad again, and you technically have another zone right below this one, right there. And you just tapped into it a few times. So let's see what happens. Fake news, RSI, huge diversion. Let me do something real quick. Okay. Let me go do something real quick. I'll try to look at some volume stuff real quick. Okay. This is why I don't use volume as a big reason for really anything. This is why I don't use volume for a big reason. So right now, you're looking at the stock market and you're looking at volume and you're going, wow, we saw these huge spikes, then volume dropped off, right? And Tony, I'm gonna read into it, but this is more just my explanation of why volume is interesting to me to really have in your strategy in general. Like, I get it if you have one, but it's probably, you probably read into it or know more about it than I do, and that's great. Volume drying up like this does not mean you have to see a big ass red bar. Now you can, but let's just go look at some potential bottoms. What happens at these bottoms? Well, in 2020, you see volume get these huge spikes, and then it just falls off completely. But what happened? It doesn't matter. Like, volume for the most part is not going to give you great hints, right? There are times where we utilize, where we mention it, but they're very key times, right? I'm not saying it has to be wrong and paying attention to volume is wrong. I'm just saying for bottoms to see light volume, whatever, you know? I agree, because most volume from squeezes, you can go up for a long time. Exactly. It's not about, that's why it's, do you see, Tony, why I'm mentioning it's more about where does price get to and how does price behave when we get to those levels? That's more going to be helpful to me than just saying, oh, the volume is drying up. The volume is drying up. Okay, one good thing is said, volume's back, and you're all bullish, right? Like, that's how I see it. I just don't think it's the most helpful thing to really be paying attention to. We could probably look at these moves right now, turn on volume, and be like, oh yeah, volume soaked up to the upside. So we're going to get a big downside move, right? If we read into volume that way, we would say volume to the upside is soaking up. We're hitting into resistance again, right? We're making this, we just made this block. If we lose that block, it's bad. Oh, okay, it's bad. Oh, we see this little kick up in volume, boom, big green bar, then a big red one, right? It didn't really help you that much. That's all I'm getting at. That's why we do not cover volume really in the full technical analysis course, right? That's why I don't do it. Now, as of right now, if you look at a 1 minute, maybe even a 1 minute chart, you're going to start to see this. You're holding every single divergence point right now. It's kind of flat, so you're hoping this violates it right now. If this 1 minute turns down and goes negative, you are very likely to lose this low, and then you have to see how you behave in this zone. This is all price action, so we're talking about it very thoroughly. Hey, Corey, thank you so much for the 99. Nvidia. Yeah, looking over at Nvidia, the scary thing is you're running right into that wall. The good thing is you're going past the point. That's a good thing. The good thing is look how positive you are on the shorter time frame. The good thing is the 30-minute curled up into what? Positive territory. The good thing is you're crossing the center line for the RSI. The good thing is you have room on this 30-minute to grow. The bad thing is the 2 hour is still confirmed down. The bad thing is you have a gap here. The bad thing is you have a gap here. The bad thing is you have a gap here. The bad thing is you have a gap here. We're going to revisit these levels eventually. I would say with very much confidence that we are going to revisit those lows, most likely in the next 2 years. That could be now, but that could be 2 years from now. Right? That's why we're paying attention to right now, right? We're paying attention to now because we're like, is it going to go down there? Well, you're seeing all positive things so far. And now you're going into a risky event called what? Earnings. Yay. So Corey, hopefully, I mean, I don't think it's the most helpful thing, especially for a trade like AMD, or a trade like Nvidia. I think you're going into, at least you're trying to trade a different stock than the stock that could have a serious amount of implied volatility. But if AMD gives really bad news, then you can see a really bad reaction for Nvidia. If AMD and SMCI give very good news, as I think SMCI has earnings soon, you can see a very good reaction for Nvidia. It still will be very reactionary to the earnings. So I like to do that. I do like to do that, Corey. I like to see how the other stocks that could be affected by it are looking. But I think everyone's doing that right now with Nvidia. If it is a sector that everyone knows you can make good growth money on and maybe good option money on, a little more rough, right? A little more rough. So I'm not planning on playing AMD. I am not going to play SMCI. That's very obvious because there's earnings. You guys know I don't do that. And then at this, unless it's like a golden setup, right? I've played an Apple earnings when it had golden setup. That's it. But I won't play Nvidia because it's too tied in. It's too directly tied in. Anybody inputs right now? I mean, this is where rejection can happen. You're right at that level, but just note the 5-minute was able to go positive. You're looking for a new high of day. That would be a good inclination of good things. It's not about good news, a lot of good news. Well, one thing we were talking about, by the way, Tony, I'm going to read the rest of this, was at this moment, right? We are here. What did we talk about weeks ago when we were talking about the 30-minute divergence at the low and the 2-hour higher low forming? It wasn't even done yet. What were we talking about? Do we, at this point, have good news related to everything people are worried about? Solidified, concrete good news? No, that is the correct answer. And there's a bunch of Fed speakers this week. I don't get why that's happening. So I don't know if it's damage control. I don't know. But you don't have it. People were maybe pricing in that everything's priced in and things are going to get better now. What if they don't get better? Is that priced in? Is there something unknown? Does a deal fall short? These are the type of things that can ruin this. We do not. We do not. We do not have solidified good news. What the market's trying to do is say, this is priced in. I'm going to get in early. The algorithms are going to push it up for a test to see if at that level the sellers show up or we get good news and start to explode. I think the Fed's got a big old dumpy dump to give to people, though. That's the bad part. I think the Fed's got a dumpy dump. That's so crazy, Tony. Let me read your full comment there, Tony. A lot of good news has been priced in since Meta, Microsoft, etc. It's crowded trade. Yeah, those are earnings good news, but we've pointed out multiple times what? The dollar. Look at the dollar. My goodness gracious. The dollar is saying there is no good news right now. The only thing you have going for you right now is the 10-year is dropping off. It's not going to be a good confirmation if it lands like this, but this can easily just whip up tomorrow. Yeah, so the good news is not the good news that you need. Earnings can get you up to that level for the retest, but earnings can't do it alone. Earnings can't do it alone. Response to what I think big news is, I believe it's not a trade deal. I'm assuming he is going to Saudi being oil rich. And well, oil is showing that big turnaround. It could be related to oil, John. John, you have serious reversal signals on the daily time frame for oil. Oil looks like it's about to go into an uptrend for the next, 2 months. Pretty crazy. That would be that. I mean, we'll see. What's the way to put it? Weirdly enough, light volume will help you. Weirdly enough, light volume does help you. Squeeze behavior can help you. So if you look at a 5-minute and you ever see a moment where that thing is just dragging higher, right? You're just dragging higher. I think it was this moment right here. you're just kind of dragging higher, dragging higher, dragging higher. You get to that center line, you see volatility kick in, and then you just drag higher. This is a good indication. This right here is a good indication of squeezing. Now, squeezes will stop, and they're very hard to short, but that's why it's more like, okay, understand the environment's starting to change. But yeah, that's how I like to do it. There's probably a better way to do it. More so than not, though, I'm looking for this type of behavior, you know? I'm looking for this type of behavior from a stock. Meta is a good example. Meta on a bigger time frame is a pretty good example. I think it was the 30. I thought it was Meta. Maybe I'm wrong. Is it the 30? Oh, it's here. Okay. So do you see this? This is a squeeze. This is a squeeze. Now that squeeze failed. It did not do what? Make the new high. Okay. Then it came down, still remained positive, and got some good earnings. So Meta, weirdly enough, wasn't giving you the price action hints you needed. But for the most part, we can see that the day before, new highs. That's pretty good. But you can see this. This, where the price action is just straight going up, and this is just turned down, going in the downward direction. That's usually an indication that you're squeezing. And so you look for continuation. You look for little pullbacks at that point if you're not in it already. Now let's see if people start to front run AMD earnings. That would be a very good, hopeful thing for the market. And then you hope it's good. Those odd big green candles today related to Trump pump X news, 12:10 p.m. and 2 p.m. 12:10 p.m. was something. 2 p.m. was big, great news coming, immediately sold off. Yeah, that's because it's not big. You know, just because someone says it's going to be great, big, good news, at this point, you should understand what good news, like actual good news that you're looking for. And I think that good news is like maybe cuts, which I don't think you want to cut in this environment still. But people could read into that well. I think that could set a trap. I think earnings is great, but forward guidance was really what we wanted to pay attention to. That's not looking too good. I think the obvious good news is just like, do you get the tariff thing to de-escalate with China? You don't even have to see a deal with China, just de-escalation. And then an obvious good news would be a trade deal done, or at least close to done. Like, hey, we just got to sign the papers kind of thing for something like India. You bearish for tomorrow? With this type of outlook, I can't necessarily be bearish yet. With the price action we have right now, if we reject from here and head down, I would say I'm bearish into the early stages of tomorrow. If we remain good, then I think I'm bullish into the early stages. So it depends on these earnings, and it depends on where price is in the morning. So I would say, yeah, we only have 13 minutes left. If we can hold price here, I think you're still inviting the downside. I'm bearish on FOMC. I think FOMC will cause bad things. But so it's hard to read into right now, because I think tomorrow you can see an up move and then a down move, or a down move then an up move. But going up with FOMC, I don't really see that right now. Push to 486. 486, new high of day. New high of day if that would happen. I just want to see if we get the front run and if it's not a fake out. Because we got the front run last time from lows. Let me see at this guy. See what we're talking about. Any kind of update on some Trumpy stuff. Why should AMD pump? I'm not suggesting I know if AMD will pump or not. I'm saying if you want the market to be good, you better pray that AMD pumps. I'm still just being aware of the risk, man. Lucas is playing earnings. Hell no. You guys know my shit with AMD, bro. I think looking for put end of day tomorrow makes sense, but you could be getting some weird things going on here. Let's see here. We got about 10 minutes left. Oh yeah, sorry. Bought at a high, and then the dump came A. Well, with AMD, it was more management of trades. AMD would confirm a 30-minute divergence, and then fail it, set up another one, and then fail it and make a triple one, and then that one would work. So too many management of the trades. West Taiwan's having some problems. Hey, thank you, Crumpet. Appreciate it if you're not being sarcastic. Yeah, Joshua. It happens to all of us, though, right? Sometimes you got to manage too much. All right, seeing downside to start here. No sarcasm. Okay, good. I'm glad. I just hope it's helpful. You stream every day? Yeah, I do. Every single morning for sure. We're doing closing streams in pretty much all of May right here on YouTube. Normally we do closing streams on Rumble, but we're doing them on YouTube this month so more people can come in if they have questions. Give you a little taster, which usually we don't see so much craziness during those live streams, right? Right, Rumble fam? Usually it was boring until the last 5 minutes. These are a little bit more eventful. Your streams are helpful. Wish you this. Thank you. Wish you the best from Germany. Guten Tag. Yeah, I used to market for a lady from Germany made a business here called Prost. Yeah, I was the Stein hoisting champ. Actually, no, I got like third. I think I got third. But I beat the big muscly guy across from me that was like 250 pounds and just kind of a bubble boy kind of muscle guy. All right, here we go. Here's the failure, rejection off. Let's vote bearish report. You make cold mornings enjoyable. Hey, that's good. Get a blankie, though. I got a blankie. It gets cold down here in the morning, so I got a blankie, too. Give you a dislike for streaming on YouTube instead of Rumble. That's right, Willow. We were able to make a new high here. Very interesting. Doesn't that look bad? That looks bad. Let's do this real quick. We see this zone. Let's see what we do with the bottom of this. Like I said, you're ping-ponging. You're ping-ponging price right now. You're just bouncing in between these two levels. If you do that for the next 8 minutes, if you're doing that for the next 8 minutes, you're just kind of there. You don't really get a sense of direction unless you just read into one thing, which is the fact that during this move, you've made the new high, which is good. This move, right? You've made a high. It peaked you above this for a second, which can be a little bit of, say, a hint. A hint, right? You could say this, potential hint. Now we had to make that a bigger zone later, right? We had to make that a whole zone. So you didn't really know that was a hint. We were more looking at this. And then we saw, boom, we saw it lose it. That's not good. Okay, let's go grab 563. Okay, now we're going to do the move. And now we see, hey, can we build back up? Reject, reject. Well, reject again, but peek our head up. Is that going to be enough to shoot the market higher? And is this just people guessing at the end of the day? Well, you don't want to close outside of this zone. I can tell you that. You don't want a close outside of here, in my opinion. You want this to either sit here or at least see this get a nice wick. I don't think you want to close here. That's my opinion, though. You still can close here and still look okay, but closing below here is really risky. Hint, hunt, haunt. Due to tariff uncertainty, we'll wait. We'll wait. Yeah, uncertainty. You were starting to get some people thinking they were pretty certain with the good earnings that they got from, say, like Microsoft and Meta. That kind of went ass backwards as they started to realize, oh, shit, this whole tariff thing is still happening, huh? And then Trump comes out with something new, and Trump overall goes, hey, I'm going to tariff movies now. Hey, guess what? That was potentially not even priced in. They're saying, hey, that's potentially not priced in, right? It's kind of rough. All right, here we go. Remember, we are still positive. We are still in the zone, but dipping below this level, you can do it and still remain good, right? But now we start to look for, do we pin price? Start to turn down. Okay, this is good. That's a good thing. We want that to happen for another 4 minutes. You want this to take place for 4 minutes straight. West Taiwan might collapse at this rate. It pretty much is. Ever since you showed me that video, Willow, I've been watching some of those. And man, it never gets better. It feels like it never gets better. And I'm kind of scared that like those videos, he knows he's going to get views from those type of things. So I can't fully trust it because, you know, clickbaiters, you know, they know what gets clicks. So I'm only getting one side. I would like to see the other side. Like, is it actually as bad as it seems in those videos? Oh, is it? Well, then what's HSI doing? Oh god, HSI is going straight into resistance right now. When did we bottom? What's the exact date? Oh, sorry about that. Like, it's bad for 4th, 8th. Hang Seng and the SPY bottomed kind of at the same date. Yeah, so this is the kind of limbo. It's good to see price do this right now. I would say that. It's good to see at least this happen. But this kind of puts you in limbo for tomorrow. It opens the door still for that roll. Notice that this here is starting to do what? Roll. So you're looking for us to close back above that, start to beat this high. And people are probably going to be leaning on AMD and SMCI. Oh, are you? I'm sorry, you're watching. Am I ruining your Netflix? Willow knows. A lot of people want down. We'll see. You know, volatility is doing what it needs to do to remain good, for volatility, right? It's not seeing it drop off and lose this, but we do have the double top available. We have loss down in here. That's a good thing, but we just tapped into this. So I don't really try to read into price action exactly here because it's not a price, right? So this would be reading action. Let's look at this 5-minute close in a minute, though. Let's really look. Okay, good. We want to see green here, I think. Well, I guess, you know, if most of the chat's bearish, you don't want to see green here, then. You don't want to see this go like this, or you're just hoping it's a fake out. China sees surge in worker protests over unpaid wages, factory closures, and U.S. tariffs. Yeah, it's kind of that might be it. We'll see. We got 50 seconds. 5-minute charts do crazy things. Let's see. Yeah, I won't be sticking around for earnings, guys. Oh, okay, yeah, we just saw that break. So this opens up the door to downside tomorrow. Yeah, as this price action right now, we were able to dip out of this. It does open up the door to downside tomorrow. I mean, very obvious now. You're like, okay, we just bled through it. Normally, you don't bleed through it. Dumpy dump. Look at that move, man. And now you're praying. If you're on call, you're praying. You're praying for a good earnings from a lot of things. So we read into this. This means there is an edge, at least in the shorter time frames, to the bulls for the time being. We're going to wipe these out because we're not going to need these for the video later. But this is adding up to potential for more downside. This opens the door again. Again, you made your attempt. As of right now, you would say that attempt is failing. It's in the process of failing. Right? Make another low. Now you have seen what? You've seen a high form. You're now seeing a lower high, right? If you take out this low, man, you're looking like 555 is seriously on the table for tomorrow morning. So we'll be watching. The only thing that really funks all this up is earnings. We have to see how those earnings go. I always enjoy the close on this channel. I do too. It's fun. Look at that. Look at that last little minute move. I looked away and looked at my other charts for 1 second. I looked back and we were breaking the zone. God dang. All right, guys. So I'll get looking at this stuff. I want to give it a serious look. I want to make those daily expected moves for you. If you need a weekly or monthly expected move for AMD, we will have that over on Patreon. It's already posted. You can see the weekly expected move right now if you join Patreon and look for that. If you need second standard deviation, maybe ask during the live show tomorrow and I'll give you that second standard deviation, okay? If we start to see something real crazy from AMD in either direction, we can still pay attention to that second standard deviation. So thank you guys so much for joining today. It was fun for this closing stream. We're reading into the price action. The price action is trying to give you hints and then it dumps through telling you, nope, the direction for now is down and everyone's hoping for a good AMD earnings for a good reaction. So thank you guys so much. Have a great night and I'll see you on YouTube for our video in just a little bit and then I'll see you live tomorrow morning. Peace out, guys.